Good evening everyone and welcome to the AOR Hype Energy F3 League on the PC Season 16 round number 2, the Bahrain Grand Prix. My name is Thompson and joining me in the commentary box for tonight's race, as with every race this season, is Aladar. Good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Thompson. Once again, I'm incredibly glad to be here and I'm looking forward to what should be hopefully an even better race than the first one.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a cracker of a race. Last week was a pretty interesting race, to be fair. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure to have a look at it after this race to get the full view of where we are in this league. Bahrain Grand Prix tonight. Obviously a good track for racing and for overtaking, and I'll bet we're going to see a lot of that very shortly.
Absolutely. One thing to note about tonight's race is the fact that Ramdrop, who came second in last time out at Albert Park, will not be joining us for this race. He's not able to be here, and nor is Tom97HD, so we'll be without those two drivers for this race, so that's just something to bear in mind. As you can see here, we got the super soft, the soft, and the medium tyres available for this race. And one interesting thing about this track is that a one-stop, if you start on the super soft tyres, really is not possible. So we'll be looking to see a lot of two stops coming out of the top 10 starting drivers at the very least. Whereas you can one stop if you go from softs to mediums or do the reverse. So looking for diverse strategies coming into this race, which is always a positive. In a moment now, we're just going to throw you over to a little hot lap video courtesy of CRG Evo and Ninja Rabbit.
Welcome to Sakhir, Bahrain. I am Ninja Rabbit here to take you on the hot lap of the Sakhir International Circuit. This is CRG Evo on the Xbox One. He won the last round at Australia here at AOR. Turn 1, very, very sharp off of the pit straight. Lots of passing opportunities here, and 30 meters wide on the track here. 2 and 3 taken flat out. A little bit of a lift here in true to get you down the front straight. Turn 4. Passing opportunity there, a switchback, and another wide part of the track. Drivers will be taking the whole thing. Left, right, and left here through the S section. Gotta be careful to not cut the track or leave the track in any fashion. Cut it right down. The turn 7 and 8, and now 9 and 10. Double corner, got to watch the bump there on the inside of turn 10, a very, very slow section of the track, but with DRS, they ramp it all the way up. 8th gear grabbed before the sweeper in turn 11, got to brake and turn at the same time, and in the same section of corners, you must accelerate out. For 12 and 13, you cut it down just a little bit. 4th gear, get the best exit you can down a very, very long straight. Crank it all the way up, running low downforce for most cars. The slipstream becomes very important here as another passing section here for turn 14. A very exciting track here at Bahrain. And a fantastic lap here by CRG Evo. Enjoy the race, everyone.
Alright, and welcome back everyone, and as you can see, we are already a couple of minutes into this qualifying session.
And I just had a bit of a mishap. I actually forgot to select spectator mode when joining the lobby, so I actually have to retire from the session now because I'm in a Renault apparently. So don't be alarmed by that. I won't be driving today with my terrible driving.
An honorary member of the Renault team for this one.
Yeah, so just remember, I'm not actually driving. I'm just on the list somehow. So as you can see, first few people are starting their flying laps now. I think it's actually AOR Ruben who's the first one to start a flying lap, ahead of Adidas Tracksuit in the Sauber. And Adidas Tracksuit had a decent race last time around, I think, until it ended. So it's going to be interesting to see where it can qualify this time around. Ruben's struggling a little bit in the Australian Grand Prix, so he's got some work to do now in the Bahrain Grand Prix. So that's a Ferrari of, I think, Skaty that was, who let him through there.
Unsure quite who it was, but yeah, as you said about Ruben, he did have a very tough time, particularly in qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix. He had a pretty decent start, however. He got himself up towards the tail end of the points, if I remember correctly, but I think something else went wrong, and he ended the race as a DNF. One thing to note about Ruben, which we didn't realize coming into this, and apparently he didn't realize either, that you weren't supposed to have the racing line on for this split, so he had to turn it off for the first race, and that was about his first time driving without it, so he'll have had a week to practice by now, and hopefully he will be much more on the pace and what we're used to seeing from him, because he has been a solid driver in the past in AOR.
Yeah, being part of the coordinator team for F1 2018, obviously we placed people according to their pace and aimed for 4 splits without racing line. Actually, Lemon, as mentioned last time around, was of the guys who actually qualified for the leagues with racing line, but he was too fast, so we asked him if he'd be okay with driving in the league without a line. Obviously, I can't remember how exactly Ruben was placed. Either he did not mention he used racing line, or he was overlooked or something. I can't really tell exactly how that happened. But he seems to have found his foot now, currently sitting provisional pole on a 26.7. Muller actually only doing a 27.0, so times are pretty slow at the moment. I wonder if people are just doing their banker laps, or if the track conditions are somewhat slow. But pole time, what I would reckon would be a low 26, maybe 26.0. As JSR now sets the new fastest lap provisional pole with 126.6.
Yeah, no, I would expect these laps to have been faster than they are. Even if they are banker laps, you'd expect it to be a little bit closer towards the time. We could see a lot of track improvement throughout the session, as there can be quite a significant amount of that, as we see in real-life F1 as well. And yeah, as you said, around the 126 sort of mark would be what you'd expect to see, maybe a few drivers dipping into the 125s. Interestingly, that Muller is all the way down in 5th at the moment, because I think he's absolutely the favourite for this race as well. He astonished us last time out in Australia with an excellent drive. He really drove away from the whole field there, and he got pole there. And I'd be very surprised to see him anywhere other than the front row in this qualifying session. Corny puts himself up into 2nd there on the soft tyres. That's incredible stuff from him. Yeah,
Julian actually just had a 1 minute 30 until recently. Now set at 128.2, and he is actually on medium tires. So I'm gonna say he's gonna go out on a different compound and go quicker. Obviously, it can be a gamble to maybe try and qualify on softs, considering one stop can be possible when you start on the softs. So either you qualify on those set of tires, or you not end up in the top 10, which is not ideal either. So strategy will be quite an interesting factor, and it's so important actually that we can see it transpires over into qualifying as well, as people like Corny, for example, set their fastest lap on soft tires.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and there is quite a spread throughout the whole field regarding the tyres. Lehman just came through and raised the average time by a considerable, or lowered it, I should say. He put in a 126.461, a much more representative time of the sort of pace I would have been expecting from these first sets of laps here, and Lehman is someone to watch out for. We didn't see too much of him in the Australian Grand Prix. He didn't make it very far in before having to retire, but we did get to talk to him afterwards, and he, of course, is also doing his first split driving without the racing line, and so he was having a bit of trouble adjusting to that in the Australian Grand Prix, but he says that the Bahrain Grand Prix is a much kinder circuit when it comes to working out your braking zones.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually you have a good amount of braking markers all around the track where you really need them. In turn 1 especially, you really want to nail your braking, because that's the main overtaking spot, and also you can lose a lot of time if you get the 1, 2, 3 section wrong. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult to get these cars slowed down, considering how short the braking zones actually are. So you have to be absolutely precise with where you apply the brakes and how hard you hit them.
Absolutely. Right now we're just seeing IE Pony coming through the final corner, just coming towards the line, and this is something we didn't actually get to see in the first race as he was not able to attend. And as he comes across the line, it's a 1:26.567. That is a very good lap from the Williams driver, and I think the fact that we've just seen him put his first banker lap that high up, along with Lehman's more recent lap, also that a very fast lap as well, I think that indicates to me at least that there is a significant amount of track progression going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people like Muller, he set his time on, I think, soft tires. Sorry, he did it very slow on super soft. Actually, now he's going out on soft tires. So yeah, I think he'll have a look now, how quick he can go, get back to the pits, put on a fresh set of super soft, and just wait out until the end. And if he's not happy with his position, I'm gonna bet he's gonna go out again, and then bang out a lap on the fastest set of tires. Well, I mean, considering how quick he was in qualifying last week, he can really afford doing that, and then using his pace to his advantage to maybe get in strategy advantage or just start at the front.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what Muller is doing right now, as he actually tries to get out of the way and stops a little bit too close to the apex of the corner for comfort there. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what he's doing, because he's not setting a fast lap on this lap either. He's down to 0 in the ERS mode, and he wasn't actually gunning it down the straight either. So, and I don't think he's set any sort of time on those soft tires, so I'm not entirely sure what he's come out for. He might be setting 2 warm-up laps on the soft tires before really going for a full push lap, which would be interesting to see, and that would prove that there really is a lot more concern you have to put into your tire heating in this game than we've seen from the previous F1 games, and that would be something that I'd very welcome to see that, I think, as he will have to get out of the way of this Force India behind him at the moment. I think, no, that's not Postas, that must be Lehman just going past him there. Postas a little bit further up the road in the 99 Force India as he comes along. Let's stick on board with him now. He seems to be on a pretty fast lap. He's down to 3 on the ERS mode though, so perhaps he's not pushing all out, although actually some ERS management is required throughout the lap if you are to get ERS deployment through the final straight.
Yeah, if you just set a too hot lap and go around the whole of the track, actually you use more electric energy as you're allowed to do on a single lap. So you might want to switch down to possibly high or overtake mode somewhere in the lap where you won't need as much energy, as Postas now goes across the line, still in 11th position. So yeah, it's definitely important to manage your electrical power, not only from how much you have in your battery, but also how much you're using across the lap.
And we are indeed seeing Muller now starting his flying lap. So I believe that was 2 out laps on the or two warm-up laps on the soft tires, which is very interesting to say the least. Either he really messed up his exit coming out of the final corner on the previous lap and decided to abort the lap already, or he actually did need those 2 out laps before he could get to this push lap. I'm going to stick on board with him now and see what he's able to do, because he, by the way, is the fastest of all these drivers on the time trial leaderboards for the Bahrain circuit. He is 41st on those leaderboards, with Murphy actually the second driver in 46th, and then a larger gap back down to Lehman, who was down in 59th last time I checked.
Yeah, Lehman is definitely one who likes to do time trials. He's very good at that. That's a thing we noticed in placements. So not really surprising to see him there. And yeah, Muller showed his 1 lap strength and also his race strength during last week's race. So he's now coming through the end of the second sector and to the second sector split, and he's actually up by 3/10. So not the best of laps, but also he's on the soft tires, that is to consider. So we'll have to wait and see whether he actually finishes this lap or if he aborts it. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I think there's 3. Yeah, he's aborting the lap. As expected, because he was down, and he's probably now going to put on a fresh set of super soft tires and then go out towards the end of the session and try and go for that pole time, which is 126.4 at the moment.
Yeah, still resting at that 126.4 mark. No one's really challenged that since it came up, i.e. Pony came close, but not actually that close. It's still a pretty comfortable gap for Lehman out in front on those soft tires, which is really quite impressive from him. Looking forward to seeing whether we'll have a I came into this thinking, perhaps pessimistically, that Muller would once again be running away with it, because a lot of the predictions on the forums and elsewhere were suggesting that Muller really did have the pace around here and that Australia wasn't a fluke for him. And I looked on the time trials, and of course he was the fastest one on there as well. But it hasn't quite panned out for him so far in this qualifying session. Of course, he does have one more opportunity, and he has strapped on the super soft tyres in the pit lane, so he'll be coming out to try and set as fast a lap as he possibly can. And we'll see how that goes, but it's nice to see him under a little bit of pressure at least.
Yeah, Ian just sent a message in chat that he's having sound issues and is at the moment not possible to fix it. But he is on an outlap now, so I guess he's just going to try it anyway. From experience, I know if your sound doesn't play properly, it can be quite irritating because you tend to shift by hearing and not actually looking at the gauges. So if you can't hear how high your revs are, that might be very distracting and actually hindering your pace, especially in downshifting and braking zones. So we'll have to wait and see what time Ian can set. One out of two drivers who haven't set a lap yet. Talking about those two, Enigma are now coming around the last corner to set his first lap time. It puts him 11th with 1:27.3.
Yep, just came in behind Pashchek, who also set a lap time just now as well. He was actually the 4th fastest in the time trial, so I was expecting him to have another strong performance. But as it stands right now, the two Haas drivers, who were so dominant throughout so much of the Australian Grand Prix, they didn't quite get the 1-2 in the end, but they came very close. It looked like it might be a similar sort of situation coming into this race, but at the moment, absolutely not the case, as Pashchek moves down into 11th. I think Murphy, that was, put himself up into 8th place just there. I am going to apologize real quick for the audio issues that I am having as well, so I will try and do my best to mitigate the constant full throttle noise we're hearing, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately having the same issue, so I mean, I at least can just turn the volume up. Would be nice to have it for the stream.
Yeah.
Reese spoke, just asked in the chat where Tom is. I'm gonna guess that's gonna refer to Tom97HD. He won't be able to attend tonight, and I forgot the reason he stated why, but he won't be there, and I'm gonna guess he's gonna be back for the next round in China.
I have a feeling it was work related, but don't quote me on that. So,
yeah. I'm getting older. I tend to not remember stuff across the week until we reach race day on Sunday. But let's gloss over that. I'm actually following Ian around at the moment,
Ian, okay.
who hasn't set a time yet. He was the one with sound issues, but at the moment it looks he's as if he's doing pretty fine. Coming around the second sector split now, second sector of 27.9. Unfortunately, I didn't get a split time compared to pole, what that lap means. But, I mean, he's going to come around the last corner now, so we're going to see he's using all the track on entry and not quite all of it on exit. Well, it was a solid lap all in all, and it puts him on the 26.7, which at the moment is P8. And that is an incredibly close grid at the moment. P8 to P1, only 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, absolutely. And not a bad lap from Ian, but I would expect to see him bump down out of the top 10. He might have a chance to put in one more lap if he has this little cool-off lap and then sets another one, although that will make his super soft tyres very damaged come the start of the race. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's all we're going to see from Ian in this session. One thing to note is I think it's probably the case that all drivers in this lobby are probably having the same audio issues, and therefore that might account for the slightly slower times across the board, as Ruben puts himself up into second place, proving that he has been able to practice without the line and he can do a decent job without it.
Interestingly enough, just switching through some drivers, I don't have the sound issue with every driver, so
yeah,
it's a selective bug. But we'll gloss over that, as we actually only have 1 minute left in the session. So people will be starting their final flying laps as we speak. Just a small reminder, at the moment Lemon is in pole position provisionally with a 1:26.4, but as you can see the times are incredibly close. So I'd hazard to guess that that time will fall and will have somewhat lower pole times into the low 26s.
Indeed, yeah. I'd be very surprised to see this lap time be the ultimate lap time, especially with Lehman out on those super soft tyres. Just jump on board with him. I think he is probably currently on a push lap, or he's just about to start his flying lap. Let's just check to see where he is right now. He's coming around the final corner, and we'll see when he comes across the line.
He's starting his lap now.
Oh, okay, so he's just about to start his laps. Fair enough. So, should we ride on board with him, or do you have any other drivers you particularly want to take a peek at?
Yeah, we can ride on with him, and JSR actually trying to profit from the slipstream right behind Lemon. Let's hope that Lemon doesn't hold JSR up in any way. We have yellow flags. Oh, that's actually just someone getting out of the way. That's Julian, actually, who's letting everyone pass.
Yeah, Julian has, in fact, retired from the session, i.e. Pony also retiring from the session from 3rd place, so he wasn't able to improve on that 1:26.567, which he set earlier in the session. Julian with a slightly more disappointing time, albeit on the soft tyres, down in 11th place right now, as Corny, Ian, and Murphy all come across the line without being able to improve on their lap time, so that's 5th, 8th, and 9th at best for them, respectively. Lehman's lap seems to be not all that great, to be honest, and it seems to be hampering JSR behind him as well, because JSR is keeping with him. I might be wrong about Lehman's lap. It might just be that JSR is also having an excellent lap right now, and it doesn't seem like anyone's really improving on their previously set times. Muller still unsure what he's going to be doing, and as I say that, there we go, the 1:26.0. Just as we were predicting, someone finally delivers it to us. And that will be a mountain now for Lehman to climb if he's able to get that pole back from Muller.
Yes, the question is, can the 3 drivers that are actually still out on track, that is Lemon, Ruben, and JSR's Ruben actually going into the pits, can they beat that time? I think Lemon improved there just slightly, but it's still not enough. Whereas JSR, he crossed the line as well.
Didn't improve.
But, didn't improve either, so that is qualifying done. And again, Muller gets that pole position. This time he clinches that spot on the grid on the last second. I think he was actually the second to last driver to actually improve his lap. So a good lap there from Ruben again, and to take pole position at the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah, so as I was saying that we might have a bit of hope for Muller not dominating this race, it turns out he actually leads qualifying by around 0.4 of a second, so perhaps that's rather out of the window. However, very impressive stuff from him, and good stuff from Lehman as well, to have such a turnaround from what was a very disappointing Australian Grand Prix, and the exact same could be said for Ruben.
Yeah, so now the qualifying results on screen for your display. As we said, Muller with a second pole in the second race, Lemon behind him in a second, joining me on the front row of the grid, and then behind that it's actually pretty close with the gaps. So we have Ruben, iPony, JSR, Corny, Adidas Tracksuit, Skatey, Nick Mido, and Ian round off your top 10 for tonight.
One to watch going into the race will be Corny, who is starting from 6th place on the soft tyres. He'll be by far the furthest forward, starting on anything other than the super softs. Interestingly, Lehman also, I believe his first lap was set on the soft tyres, unless I'm mistaken, and then he went and improved only very slightly on the super soft tyres, which seems to me a complete error, because surely he would have wanted to have started from 2nd place on the soft tyres rather than starting from 2nd place on the super softs, which he's now done for himself.
Yeah, and I have to remember to retire from the session before the race starts.
That's a good point.
Luckily enough, I am in P19, so there's no one behind me. I could impede. So that is quite lucky.
Are you able to retire during the formation lap, or
no? I'll have to wait until the first light comes on, and then I can retire. And then I'll be with you once we are at 5 red lights, I hope. Okay. At the moment, drivers are still preparing their race strategies and maybe a few setup tweaks, as we have another 5 seconds to go until the session starts. And obviously, I'll have the formation lap as well to retire, so it should be fine. As we now start the formation lap, and everybody gets going. And can I retire from the track? I'll have to wait and see.
Well, I'm excited to find out, regardless. Just going down the field, it looks like we're not having that audio issue anymore. That seems to have been a qualifying-only audio issue, so I'm very glad to be able to bring you onboard shots for now without deafening you, as I'm sure was happening previously, so that's very good news indeed.
Nope, I can't retire during the formation lap, so I really have to wait until the lights go on. You can now watch my AI car during the formation lap, as I don't even have my wheel connected. So
yeah, I know. Let's see it. Here we go.
I'm chilling in the menu right now, but we'll be fine.
Just here behind Postas Delfin in 18th place. Another disappointing session there for Postas, the Hungarian Force India driver. He would have been hoping for better, I think, going into this. I've seen flashes of pace from him before, but seemingly not the case here. And after a DNF in Australia, this is not the start he would have been looking for. Enigma with a similar sort of story. He didn't have the best race. He came home in 9th in Australia. It could have been better for him. At least he's got some points on the board, unlike some of the other drivers. But again, a 17th place start for him, and a 16th place for Pashek, and a 14th for Julian, and a 13th for Kalon, all very surprising to me.
And just having a look at the telemetry, I've noticed a few interesting things. So especially the drivers at the front of the grid, which are Lemon, Ruben, iPony, JSR, Corny, and Adios Tracksuit, already have like 11 to 13% tire wear on their tires. And one thing I've noticed is most drivers have between +2 and +5 laps of fuel on board, except for Julian. He's running at +0.8, so he's nearly under-fueled his car actually, which is a very interesting strategy. And as expected, everybody outside the top 10 will be starting on the soft tires to try to do that one-stop strategy.
Yeah, it's interesting actually to see Julian diverging from that, because we've been seeing everyone running pretty heavy cars at the starts of these races. Yeah, so you'll be able to retire as soon as the first light comes on, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm just lying on the grid at the moment.
Okay.
Sounds weird to say, but that's the way it is. Just behind Postas, who's in P18, as the lights now come on. And I still can't retire. I guess now I can, as we have 5 lights, and the lights are out, and the race is underway. The Bahrain Grand Prix round 2 of PCF3, as everybody heads down to turn 1, and looks like Muller can hold on for it at the moment, but he is under pressure from Lemon, that's for sure. There's some yellow flags at the moment. Can't see if there was any contact though towards the back. Looks like as if everybody came through quite cleanly. Assassin actually has some front wing damage, and he's now dropped to last place. And I think there was another incident further up the road.
There was just a little bit of a moment, sideways moment there from IE Pony in 3rd place. He's had a pretty decent start. He's displaced Ruben, who's gone down into 4th. Skatey and Corny going side by side there, and JSR looking to get into the action as well. A bit of poor start from him, falling back, and it looks like actually we're going to be having some visual problems here for Skatey and Corny throughout this race, as JSR goes slamming into the back of the Ferrari driver. Saw some carbon fiber go flying away there, so that's going to be a damaged front wing for the Renault, and look at the gap Muller has got at the front already. Already up to 1.4 seconds, and we're not even done with the first lap.
Yeah, JSR now with front wing damage. Nick just slightly knocked his wing. I think there's one end plate missing, and Hayden has some front wing damage as well. So 4 drivers that have already been affected by first lap clashes, and it's going to be interesting to see how many of them will have to come in for a fresh front wing, depending on how bad the damage is, as Corny has a big moment of oversteer coming through the last corner there. But he holds on to it, but Skatey is now right behind him, and might try and shape of the move here. Obviously, Corny has a slipstream from the cars in front as well, and I think that's Skatey again having decent issues with Corny here. I don't know which one of the two it is, but they're touching more than they probably should.
Yeah, I think those
I haven't
two...
seen that so far, but they're not really clashing into each other constantly. That's just some sort of desync there. Yeah,
absolutely. They are desynced from one another. They will not be able to see the other driver on their screen. It will be to each of them as though the other driver of the two of them is not at all in the race. So they will be driving through one another, and hopefully, for our sake, they find a bit of a gap forms between them at the moment. JSR still holding on to 7th place despite that front wing damage. Adidas Tracksuit in 8th. Ian had a look at him going into turn 1, but seemed to come off worse, and Nick Mido actually almost was able to take advantage of it, but not quite, as JSR runs wide. That is the understeer caused by missing that front wing as they come through turn 12 now, and Adidas Tracksuit right onto the back of it, but can't quite get past, and Ian Bastian also getting right onto the back of the Sauber driver as well. They're all creeping around here as JSR is really holding up these drivers back here at the bottom end of the points right now. Ian coming to the inside of Adidas Tracksuit into turn 14 and 15. He's not braked all that late though, and it looks like Adidas Tracksuit will be able to hang it round the outside and to maintain 8th position for now.
Yeah, at the moment, JSR is driving the choo-choo train here. It is obvious that he's losing time by that broken front wing, but it would not make much sense to pit now because the super softs won't hold out any longer than 5 laps anyway. So you can just stretch it out and for another 2 laps, and then change the wing together with his scheduled pit stop. And it shouldn't lose him too much time, maybe only a few seconds. But luckily for him, we can see behind him that Ian and Adidas Tracksuit actually going side by side here through turns 4 and 5. And now Adidas Tracksuit, and that's actually 4 wide, and Nick Mayu spins out in contact there with, I think that was Julian, and has now spun out and will drop to last place here in the race, and he actually retired from the race after that, has some front wing damage to go with it, and that is his race over as they try to go 4 wide down the hill into the hairpin, which obviously did not work out.
Absolutely a massive shame there for the sole McLaren driver in this race, as we see Murphy now going down the inside of Adidas Tracksuit. Adidas Tracksuit looks to get the cut back on him and does so nicely, and is able to reclaim 9th position going into turn 12. Looks like Ruben has a problem here. No, he's just he's found his way behind Corny and Skatey now. Not entirely sure what happened there, but he has lost out to those 2 positions. Although those drivers would have been on top of each other, so it would have been as though he lost 1 position, as Ian now makes his way up into 7th place, and Murphy up into 9th as well. JSR finally can't hold on to that 7th place any longer, although he's actually going to have another look down into turn 1 by the look of things. He's coming back at the Williams driver. He's going to go try and take the inside, but he can't quite get alongside, and Ian has finally made his way up into 7th place, and it looks like the 2 Red Bulls and Adidas Tracksuit fighting all the way around the track and into turn 1 again. And it looks like Murphy has just been able to claim that position for now. But as soon as I say that, here comes Adidas Tracksuit up the inside. And Postas Delphin, who started at the back of the field, has made his way up into this fight as well. He's currently up into 11th as Murphy runs wide there, but just about able to hold on to that position into the Twisty S section, where he'll be able to consolidate that lead over Adidas Tracksuit.
Yeah, big moment of oversteer out of turn 4 there from Adidas Tracksuit. Lucky that he held on to that one. That was nearly 45-degree angle there coming out of the corner. But as you can see, he's still behind Murphy here. Adidas Tracksuit actually the last driver that is on Supersoft, so he's furthest down from the Supersoft runners, and you can see how much tire was kicking in there as Julian Posters are actually duking it out, and Enigma trying to get into that battle as well, but he has to watch out as Hayden right behind him will try and take advantage of any mistakes out of the battling happening in front there. So it's really tight here in the midfield at the moment, and actually looking up the field, it looks like IE Pony has actually caught up to Lemon in the Force India. He is now in the DRS zone on the front straight, and should have that speed to maybe get past Lemon. You can see he's late on the brakes, nearly touching there. Actually a bit of wheel banging here now into turn 1, turns to the outside, but it looks like IE Pony can hold on to it for the moment. Lemon obviously now right behind him, so he might try and do a counter attack coming here into turn 4. No, he doesn't. He tries to use all the road to maybe get a good run, but as it looks, the Williams can hold on to that 2nd position at the moment.
IE Pony, yeah, up into 2nd place, and it'll be interesting to see now whether he's able to reel in Muller at all, because at the moment Muller had been absolutely driving away from Lehman and IE Pony there, 3.7 seconds at the moment, and that fight, of course, will have lost them a little bit more time to the Haas driver up front. IE Pony was stuck behind Lehman somewhat, though, so it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to do anything about it. Doesn't look like it at present. Gap still hovering around the 3.7, 3.8 second mark for now. Corny in 4th place on the soft tyres, looking very strong, though, actually, at the moment, because he is now right behind this battle for 2nd and 3rd, and he's going to be able to take advantage of that sooner rather than later, as the super soft tyres will now be starting to go off the cliff.
Yeah, and as in the early phases of last week's race in Australia, Miller actually uses the battling behind him to his advantage to gain an early comfortable lead as the battle for P2 ensues, and it's going to be interesting to see who out of the super soft runners will come into the pits first. Lap 5 might be a lap where you want to start thinking about a stop, but as it seems everybody stays out for that one extra lap. AOR Ruben actually already hit that 50% tire wear, and that is where you really start to lose tire grip, performance,
wow,
and obviously lose lap time, and that is a big drop from Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah, Adidas tracksuit just went straight on at turn 1. It's just like it's like he had a brake failure. He just completely missed his braking point by an absolute mile and has gone all the way back down from what I think was 10th position all the way down to the back of the field at 17th, and now the two Sauber drivers are tail-ending the field. Big shame for them, as Adidas tracksuit was looking to try and make a move into turn 1, but he messed it up so incredibly badly, and now he's ended up back in 17th place. Not a good moment for the Sauber driver.
Yeah, Adidas tracksuit also already over 50% tire wear. So after that stunt, he'll definitely be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. And as we can see, that was Posters Delphin actually trying to make a move on Hayden there in turn 9, trying to stick it up the inside, but it gets really tight there into that corner, and he couldn't make the move stick. And it looks like Hayden, for the moment, can stay ahead of the Force India here.
A lot of frenetic battling coming up and down the field right now, especially around the 9th, 10th, 11th place markers. JSR is slowly losing out. He's lost out to both of the Red Bull drivers over the course of the last lap. Of course, they are both on the soft tyres, whereas he is on the super softs, and he has that wing damage, as Ruben is the first one into the pit. As you mentioned, he had the worst tyre wear of anyone, and so he goes onto the soft tyres. A very clear two-stop strategy for him, and he looks like he's being held. Oh, no, sorry, my bad. Completely forgot about that. It's going to come right out at the back of the field, though, from 6th place.
Yeah, and Lemon, by the way, had a really good run onto the start-finish straight and managed to get past IE Pony there. And again, at the exit of turn 1, they had a bit of wheel bagging here, and actually Corny now in the Mercedes caught up to the two of them. Corny obviously started at the front, in the front bit of the grid last race as well, but then got caught up in that tangle with Ramdrop. And he's actually the first of the soft runners now, already up in P4, that is. And he's now joining that battle for P2 as well, where he has to watch out behind, because Skatey's not far off either.
Yeah, absolutely. And he wants to make fast work of IE Pony and Lehman here, because now at this point he's very clearly faster than them. And he knows he will also be a lot faster than Müller right now, because Müller will also be on those old super soft tyres. And he really needs to make this count. But at the moment, when he's stuck behind two other people who are also on those old super soft tyres, the differential between his relatively fresh soft tyres and the older super soft tyres of Müller will not be able, he will not be able to make that effective in any sort of way. So unfortunately, he's going to be losing a lot of time at the moment that he could be gaining on Müller.
And IE Pony is coming into the pits. Looks like he's trying to do an undercut on Lemon, and since the tyre wear drop-off is so bad around here, that might be a really viable strategy, as he puts on a set of medium tyres. So he might be able to go to the end on this set of tyres, but that would be really a stretch. But obviously he's going to go a long way into the race, and this outlap is going to be absolutely crucial for him, as actually Müller and Lemon still are stayed out. And as I say that, Lemon actually battling with Corny then. Oh, that is the 80 Corny D-Sync that we see there. That must be very awkward for Lemon if you can see both.
Absolutely,
of the
he can.
They're going really wide here, coming down into the hairpin, and it looks like Corny will come out and top here, unless Lemon looks like he got a quite good run out of the hairpin there. They're going side by side now. Obviously, Lemon has the DRS. Who's going to brake later? It's going to be interesting to see who has more grip, and it looks like it's actually going to be Corny on his soft tyres. You definitely have more grip at this stage than those heavily worn super soft tyres, and he'll have to come into the pits at this lap for sure, because he's nearly at 70%. So let's have a look at our race leader Müller, and he's actually going to stay out for another lap. So he's really stretching out those tyres, trying to stay out of traffic. But if everybody behind him is due to pit. He's going to pit as well. No, Lemon actually stays out, so also hitting that 70%. Corny going defensive here on the front straight into turn 1. You can see Lemon slight lock up there, trying to get the car slowed down on those worn tires. But I think it's a battle he's not going to be able to win, considering the high amount of wear he has gained in those previous 8 laps.
Ian Bastien and JSR both coming into the pits right now. One thing to note down at the back of that field is that Ruben actually comfortably was able to jump IE Pony in the pit stops, having pit only 1 lap earlier. So that undercut really will be very, very effective indeed. And I look forward to seeing how it plays out with the rest of them, because surely Ruben, if he keeps this sort of pace up, might be in a position to challenge Muller for the lead if Muller doesn't pit anytime soon. Surely he's going to come in at the end of this lap, we would hope at least. Meanwhile, that thing with Lemon and Corny and Skatey, that would have been absolutely heart in mouth for Lehman, because he was able to see Skatey and Corny and he was able to collide with both of them. Skatey was not able to see that Corny was on the inside of Lehman, and so Lehman, to his eyes, would have been acting incredibly erratically when Lehman was trying to avoid the Mercedes in front of him. So thankfully that didn't end up in a massive crash, because that could easily have done so. And speaking of those two drivers, here comes Skatey down the back stretch. It looks like he's able to comfortably drive past the Force India driver there, as Muller does indeed come into the pits.
Yeah, as do Skatey and Lemon now, so they stretched their tyres out 9 laps. And that is really quite a considerable way. Lemon actually at 76% tyre wear, and that is definitely in a range where you are in danger of getting a puncture. So it's going to be interesting to see in what tyres everyone goes. It looks like all 3 of them have switched onto the medium tyres, and it's going to be interesting to see where they come out. And it looks like Muller actually joined right within a battle group here, and that's exactly what he did not want to do. So the question is, would an earlier stop maybe prevented him from losing the time towards the soft runners here, as he tries to make quick work of the first one here, and actually tries to go past 2 drivers here in one move. He's got the Toro Rosso on the left and Postas and the Force India on the right, and at the moment Muller stays in P8.
Postas not making it easy for him at all here, as he's trying to take advantage of the cold tyres on that Haas in front of him. On those 9-lap-old soft tyres of his, he's not able to quite make it around, and Muller will be incredibly frustrated with that, because he's really not in the same race as Postas at this point anymore. But Postas desperately trying to get past him. He's been in quite the titanic scrap here with Kalon and Hayden. The 2 Toro Rosso drivers and that Force India driver of Postas have been at it hammer and tongs throughout the whole race. We saw earlier, just caught a glimpse of Postas making significant contact with one of them. I think it might have been Hayden. And it looks like Muller has managed to make his way past. Now Postas once again, ever the opportunist, trying to get past Hayden around the outside as he's put offline by the Haas driver overtaking him. And it doesn't look like he's quite able to do so yet. He might make another dive bomb here into the final corner. Let's see. Nope, the gap's just too large.
Yeah, and looking at everyone who has stopped, AOR Ruben is actually the only one who has pitted onto soft tires, so he'll definitely do a 2-stop. But as we said, everybody who's on the mediums, it might be a somewhat of a stretch, but I think people like Muller and Lemon, they should have the pace experience to get those mediums to the end, because they did 9 or 10 laps on those super softs, so they can stretch the mediums out to the end, but they will end up on high tire wear as Muller gets rid of the next Toro Rosso of calendar and is now up into P6.
Once again, the natural order of things of the 2 Toro Rossos and the Force India all nose to tail has been restored, as we're getting from this lovely view here. And oh, what a move there from Postas. A bit rude perhaps, as he throws it down the inside of turn 8. Hayden forced to leave him the space, and if nothing else, it was very opportunistic. Hayden here trying to get his own back though. A little bit messier that time though, as he forces the Force India driver off the road with a little bit of wheel banging as well. And Ruben will want to be well clear of this fight as soon as possible, because this has a real significant chance of compromising his race if he gets tangled up with any of the collisions going on around him. And it looks like he's able to make quick work of both Hayden and Postas, who once again are going side by side. These two will not leave each other alone.
No, that was Ruben really trying to get past those two, using those two, losing time and battling to get past them, as I think we'll have a slight desync as well, at least on my screen there. We're going inside of each other for a short moment there. But yeah, Ruben has already pitted, obviously, and he wanted to get past them as quickly as possible, as it looks like Kellen and Corny are the first ones of the soft runners to go into the pits, and for sure they'll go onto the mediums and drive those to the end of the race.
Corny coming out in 10th place, which is pretty good for him, actually. He's come out ahead of the likes of Lehman and Ian, who were driving pretty high up earlier. Lehman especially has lost out massively in this pit stop phase, down in 13th, and he's still stuck behind Ian in the Williams, and they're going side by side here into turn 4, and once again Ian not making it easy whatsoever for the Force India driver. They're on similarly old medium tyres, and it does look like Lehman has just about managed to get his nose ahead going into the S's. Will we see a dive bomb here from Ian? No, we will not. Lehman gets himself up into 12th place, but for how long, I wonder?
Yeah, Lehman really had problems with his strategy there, going from effective P2 to now effective probably P6-ish. So he'll have to work to do to move up the order again, whereas his the one he was following, Muller, is up in P5 and quite a bit ahead now. He is now followed by Ruben at the moment in the Mercedes, just 3 seconds down, as Masters and IE Pony actually have a bit of a battle there, and Hayden in front is not too far away, as well as Julian and Pastrick now are the next two drivers in the pits.
Yeah, you'll be unsurprised to hear that the reason Postas was easy prey for IE Pony there was the fact that he and Hayden had gone side by side into turn 12, and Postas had gone flying off the road on the outside, all on his own. So IE Pony able to capitalize on that, and thankfully for all of the people who have already pitted, Hayden and Postas take their fight to the pits and leave everyone else alone, so they don't have to quite worry so much about any front wings being lopped off, as Corny right now right behind IE Pony for his de facto 3rd position in this race.
Yeah, at the moment it looks like only Murphy and Enigma have not stopped yet. I'd hazard to guess that they will do so very shortly, as Murphy is already at over 70% tyre wear, so he will want to get rid of those soft tyres very soon, and that will put everything in the correct order again, with Muller leading the race. And at the moment I'm looking for a bit of battling. It looks like nobody's going side by side at the moment, but I guess Tracksuit is pretty close to JSR here in the middle sector, trying to shape up a move. Obviously it's difficult to get past in those tight hairpins that we have here, but if you can get a good run out of here, as Adidas Tracksuit is trying to do now, you get the DRS, and then you might try and make a move into the next corner here, which is an interesting one, because you can go up the inside and round the outside as well if you're brave. But at the moment the Sauber is not quite close enough to the Renault in front.
Murphy has come into the pits from what was the lead of the race, and unsurprisingly we are seeing just on the timing boards there, Postas, Delphin and Toro Rosso. This time it's Kalon battling it out right down there at the bottom of the field. Those guys really have been losing each other a whole heap of time, as Corny going past IE Pony now, so he is up into 3rd place on the track once Enigma has come into the pits. So that's a good move from the Mercedes driver, looking to make up for a slightly disappointing Australia.
And Kellon actually gets a 3-second time penalty now. That is the first penalty of anyone in this race after we have hit half time now. So not too many penalties, unlike last week, and only one retirement so far, with Nick Miro crashing out with the 2 Red Bull drivers. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Crash. There's a crash. Sorry to cut you off. Murphy and Paschek have just completely, they've tried to go side by side through the S section, and it's not worked out for them whatsoever. Both way off the road and into the gravel trap. That's lost them a significant amount of time, and that's a shame, because it was looking really good for both of them on their fresh medium tyres, but now they're 10 seconds down the road from Julian in 9th. Not what they were looking for at all. Not really sure who you can apportion blame to in that one. It looked like pretty much like a racing incident. But they did spin one another out and well off the road, so that's really bad news for both of them. And Paschek, especially, who had a really disappointing qualifying, looked like he was going to sort his race out and turn it around when he came out in around 10th place on those fresh medium tyres. Unfortunately, it was not to be.
Luckily enough for both of those drivers, none of them have received any wing damage, as Corny now sets the fastest lap of the race with the 1:29.96, I think that was. And Enigma is the last car to have stopped now, so everybody should be in the right order, considering they don't have to do another stop like I think Ruben will have to do. So at the moment, the Mercedes 2-3 there. In contrast to last race, which didn't go too well for the Mercedes boys. But at the moment, they're looking quite strong. But as I've said, Ruben won't be able to take those soft tyres to the end, that's for sure. Yeah,
we're seeing actually a really different running order to what we saw throughout the majority of Australia. In terms of pace as well, Australia obviously was a very chaotic and eventful race, and a lot of crashes and a lot of lost front wings. So maybe that was obscuring the natural order of things, but we are seeing a very different sort of lineup here. Muller in first, that's remained the same. Skatey in around 4th or 5th, that's also remained the same. Enigma in 9th, it remains the same, and that is about it as far as I can tell. At the moment, we are seeing Lehman and Skatey battling it out for 5th and 6th place. Lehman trying to make up for lost time throughout that pit stop phase, but at the moment, I'm actually seeing his yellow fuel light is on, and it's rather early in the race for that to be happening.
Just to mention, we did not forget to say Postas made his way past, Callan made his way past Postas Delphin there. Callan now in 15th place and Postas in P16. Just have a look at Lemon's fuel gauge. He's down by 0.2 of a lap at the moment, so it's not too bad at the moment. But he doesn't have much to fight with, as he actually makes a move up the inside here of Skatey. Skatey fighting back around the outside will be now the inside for the Ferrari driver. Skatey can hold onto it for the moment, but you can see Lemon there actually in hot lap ERS mode, trying to make a move now round the outside using all the track he can.
Here comes
trying
Ian
to get the over and under there. Skatey now still on the outside in the Ferrari, and trying to hold it around the outside now here in the S's, and the Ferrari's still ahead. I don't know how he's managed to defend all of that up to now. Ooh. And now Lemon with the dive, and I think there was some contact there. And Lemon lost his part of his front wing. Skatey off the track as well. Both of them lose positions. Now the question is, will Lemon have to pitch with that front wing damage as he drops down to P8?
Yeah, absolutely. It all went wrong there as Lehman tried to make a dive to the inside of turn 8, and Skatey shut the door. Lehman will say Skatey shut the door a little bit too late. Skatey will say that Lehman's dive bomb was very optimistic, to say the least. What it has ended up happening is that Ian has been able to get past them, and Julian has also been able to get up past Lehman, and Lehman, as you mentioned, does have that front wing damage, so that is very bad news for him, and his race has just gone from medium to worse, I would say.
Yeah, now we'll have to wait and see as he comes round the last corner, whether he will have to pit or not. He stays out, so it doesn't look like he's going to plan to pit, but it is going to hamper his pace, that is for sure, as Hayden actually gets a 3-second time penalty as well. And
another move from Julian here.
Side, but yeah, Julian is one of the more aggressive overtakers, I think, in this league. As Skatey tries to make a move up the inside of Julian there, he blocks that off, so Skatey goes round the outside in the Ferrari. That battle for sure is not over, and it looks like Julian at the moment has the upper hand and stays ahead, and through the S-checks, and there's not much you can do.
Looks like Julian, who was a little way off of these drivers before they had their incident, was as soon as he got caught up to them, he smelled blood in the water and went straight for that dive bomb. That was an incredible move. He was well behind Skatey going into turn 1, but he was able to make the move stick cleanly as well, I have to say, and that is very good news for him. He has a reputation for optimistic dive bombs that perhaps don't end quite so well as that one, so it's nice to see them being pulled off well and effectively by the young Dutch driver in the Red Bull, who gets himself up into 6th place now.
Hayden and Postas actually just went side by side there through the S section as well, battling for best of the rest. Let's put it that way. Battling for the penultimate mid position, P16 out of 17 at the moment, and it looks like Postas got the better of Hayden there, but he gets now a good run down the back straight. Will try and go round the outside, up the inside. Actually outbrakes himself. Postas trying to do the over and under, but he's now on the outside of this fast right-hander here, and it looks like he doesn't really have the grip on the curb. I think there was a slight touch as well to Hayden's rear wheel, and that sends Postas again quite a bit wide, and Hayden can hold on to the position at the moment. Obviously, the contact more due to Postas really trying to hold on to that position rather than Hayden pushing off the track, but nevertheless, it looks like he's actually going to let him pass. So maybe Hayden felt that that was not a clean move, and he's going to try again next lap.
Ruben on that lap came into the pits as he pitted early onto the soft tyres, and he's gone on to another set of soft tyres that will get him to the end of the race. From here, he's come back out in 13th place, and he'll need to dispatch Adidas tracksuit as quickly as he possibly can, because he's got a lot of ferociously fighting cars he needs to make his way through if he's going to get up towards the dizzying heights of second, which he was so recently in.
Yeah, I have the feeling that Ruben might not be on the best of strategies, considering he was running in second place and now he dropped to 13th after that stop. And if he had gone on medium tyres on the previous stop, he'd still be there in that second place and definitely fighting for the podium, that is for sure. But now he has a lot of work to do in the final 11 laps to make up that gain time so he can score some points, really, because at the moment he's quite a bit back from a point scoring position.
Hayden has gone straight back past Postas Delphin on the DRS straight there, so nice to see they're not giving it up at all, and Postas Delphin gets himself a 3-second time penalty, so expect Hayden to do the very same to make it a fair and even fight as soon as he possibly can. Meanwhile, it looks like Julian and Skatey, two Dutch drivers up there, fighting it out here as they come up the hill towards turn 4. It looks like Julian's actually made that move stick. So he is on fresher medium tyres to everyone else, and right now he's making it work excellently. He got a bit of help from Lehman and Skatey having that tussle. Ruben picking himself up a 3-second time penalty, by the way. That's not going to do his chance of getting a nice position any good whatsoever.
Yeah, as maybe we'd like to mention, the 3-second time penalties are coming in thick and fast now, and they might decide a battle here. So at the moment, Skatey has a 3-second time penalty, whereas Julian doesn't. So in case Skatey can re-overtake, he would need to build up a 3-second gap to Julian, unless Julian picks up a penalty towards the end of the race somehow. So we have to have an eye out on those penalties, and we'll keep you guys updated on any new penalties that are being handed out.
Ruben did manage to make his way past Adidas tracksuit in the end. He's up into 12th place, and he's going to be looking to chase down JSR, currently in 11th place. Another disappointing race from JSR, I would definitely say, as well. Down in 11th right now. He started well up in, I believe, I think I want to say 5th place he started this race in, so it did look like it was going to be a promising race for the Renault driver, but alas, it was not to be. Murphy and Paschek going side by side just ahead of him down the pit straight here, and Murphy sends it up the inside. These two have been battling it out for quite a long time throughout this race as well. Side by side once again and getting all caught up in one another, and here comes JSR actually trying to get past Murphy as well, whose run was compromised heavily by the contact with Paschek into the first corner there, but it looks like Murphy is going to be able to hold on to it for now. He had the inside line and therefore the high ground going into turn 4, and he has been able to keep himself ahead of the Renault driver for now.
And Postas and Hayden have been going side by side for 3/4 of the last lap, starting from somewhere in turn 8, turn 9 region, and actually resolved that battle coming into turn 1 the next lap. But Hayden is still right behind Postas as they come now into the S section, and I wouldn't be surprised if they would be going side by side at one point later in this lap again. Because they're really battling it out very hard for P16, so second to last at the moment. And it's nice to see that the most titanic of battles in this race is fought for P16. It's it's just for the biscuit, really. You're not going to gain any points, but those two are having fun racing each other, which is great. As now Hayden gets a good run on the back straight, now goes in down the inside. Postas again doing the switch back onto Hayden. He's now on the inside. He turns to the outside on this fast double right-hander. They're still going side by side here coming into the corner. It looks like the Toro Rosso might have the better grip there, as Postas actually held it round the outside there with quite incredible grip. So just have a look. They're pretty much equal on tyre wear as well. So that's pretty impressive. Again, side by side through the last corner. Now we'll have to wait and see. Hayden actually got the DRS as well, so that won't help Postas in trying to re-overtake. And we'll have to wait and see if this actually now settles down, or if they'll continue battling towards this lap. Actually, Postas really late on the brakes, nearly runs into the back of Hayden there, but gets a bad exit. And at the moment, Hayden now in P16.
I think that Postas might have let Hayden pass going into the final corner, in which case they are blatantly just trying to have as good a time as they possibly can, and who can blame them down there 14 seconds off the back of the field, which is Kalon. By the way, interesting to note that Kalon's having such a poor race. Very surprised to see that from our ex-F1 driver in this race. Only 1.5 seconds behind Assassin, but still at the back of the field if you ignore Hayden and Postas, which at this point I think you probably should. So yeah, a bit disappointing for the 18-year-old Austrian driver there. As we look back up the field, though, Murphy was able to get past Paschek eventually and has actually built a significant gap now to the Haas driver. Murphy up into 9th. JSR pretty close behind Paschek, and here comes Ruben up behind them as well, and he will be on a charge on those soft tyres, and he'll need to dispatch them as soon as he possibly can. Meanwhile, Skatey and Julian back at it once again. Skatey getting just ahead of Julian now as they go through turn 2, and he's able to keep ahead for now, but Julian will be able to slipstream him all the way up the hill towards turn 4. Skatey goes defensive to the inside, and here comes Julian around the outside here, and it looks like he's going to be able to hold on to that, especially seeing as Skatey had a bit of a snap of oversteer on exit there, and it is the Red Bull driver that just about comes out on top.
Yeah, Skatey tried to shape up the move there into turn 1, actually did as well. Had a look to the outside and then back to the inside, doing a bit of a fake maneuver there. But at the moment, Julie can hold on to that 5th position, and it's quite incredible to see how many moves we actually see being done coming down into turn 4, considering it's somewhat of a slow, sorry, it's not a slow corner, but a short straight. With a medium right-hander, but there's a few lines that you can run through there, and at the moment Julian can hold on to that 5th position, but I'm just going to bet that Skatey is not done trying to get past.
Absolutely, and one thing that happened while we were taking a peek at that was the fact that Ruben actually got himself past both JSR and Paschek at the same time, seemingly. So I feel like those two must have gone side by side into a corner or had a bit of a fight, and Ruben able to capitalize on that, and now he's chasing down F4H Murphy, who's just ahead of him, and then another 2 seconds to AOR Enigma, and then a similar sort of gap to Lehman as well. I don't think Ruben can hope for anything beyond 7th absolute maximum here, especially with that 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, we have to remember obviously Ruben on those fresher tyres, so that you'll be one to watch out for some possible overtakes. Having a look at Julian and Skatey. Skatey was not quite close enough on the start-finish straight here to utilize slipstream and DRS. He was just about right up Julian's gearbox in the braking zone coming into the apex of turn 1. But yeah, just that he was just missing that tiny fraction of track space to actually make a move there up to Julian. You can see in the middle sector he's struggling to actually keep up with Julian, so maybe Julian has a bit more wing on his car than Skatey has. But we'll have to wait and see how the battle pans out here. Julian with the slightly better tyre wear at the moment, but we'll have to remember that Skatey has a 3-second time penalty as well, so even if he gets past Julian, as I've already said, he'll have to build a gap as well, which is quite difficult considering we only have 5 more laps to go in this race. Julian
ought to have the better tyre wear. His laps are his tyres rather are 3 laps fresher. He is on 10-lap old mediums, whereas Skatey, his tyres are 13, now 14 laps old as he comes across the line. One thing I want to note real quick is the fact that Muller, once again, driving an astounding race, 8 seconds clear at the front. Courtney as well, though. Really good drive from the Mercedes driver. He was the highest of the soft tyre running starters. He started up in 6th place on those soft tyres, and he was able to make that strategy pay off nicely for him, and he's currently on those fresher mediums, much fresher than IE Pony, who's got 16-lap old mediums. He's on the oldest tyres of anyone right now, alongside Adidas Tracksuit. So it looks like that is pretty much a lock for 2nd place here for Corny, which is excellent for the German Mercedes driver. IE Pony, in his first race in this season, is doing a very good job indeed to be up in 3rd place, and Ian not far behind in 4th after having started nowhere near 4th place, actually. I can't remember exactly where he started. He's up 6 places, so he started down in 10th.
Yeah, Corny also not only with good strategy and good race pace, but he also set the fastest lap doing so as well. At the moment, he actually holds the fastest lap with 129.6. And considering Ruben is actually occupied with trying to get past people, his fastest lap is 2/10 off of Corny's, and I think now after 6 or 7 laps on those soft tires, he won't improve. So it looks like Corny might actually get away with the fastest lap tonight, which is great to see for the Mercedes driver, considering he had that issue at the start of last week's race.
Yeah, he did manage to come home in 8th in that race despite that, so actually a very hefty shunt at the beginning, and he managed to get the points as Enigma goes past Lehman here up into 7th place. He's had a pretty good race, Enigma, started down in 17th, up into 7th now, having gained 10 positions, which is more than anyone else on the grid, although actually it looks like he's going to be back down to 9, although no, not quite. Just about manages to hang it around the outside, keep it ahead of Lehman for now. They're going side by side. He's going to have the high ground going into the S's, surely. Still side by side. How much longer could it go on for? Clearly not that long, as Lehman has to concede the position eventually. Postas Delphin, speeding in the pit lane, gets a 5-second stop-go penalty, which I think sums up his race nicely.
Yeah, obviously Lemon's still struggling with that slight bit of front wing damage he got off the back of, I think, Skatey that was. So now he's battling with Enigma, and Enigma also has 5 laps fresh and medium tires, so that's really not going to help Lemon's cause, as we can see now it looks like Enigma will be able to pull away, and the Force India will now have to watch his rear view mirrors again, as Murphy in the Red Bull is closing in.
Indeed, and not only Murphy, Ruben also right behind him as well, although he's not actually making so much of an impression on the Red Bull driver anymore, and that is yellow flags in Sector 1. Who is that for? That could be one of the front runners, you know. Actually, I think it's probably Postas Delphin, having thought about it. He is, he's around Sector 1, I believe. Yeah, he's somewhere in Sector 1, so I imagine that was probably him, now that he's 35 seconds off the back of the field.
Yeah, he's a lap car at the moment, I think, behind Haas. That might be Muller, actually, if I have a look at it. Yeah, so he has been lapped by Muller and Lemon and Enigma going side by side here, coming into, what is that, turn 4, I think? Yes, it is. And Murphy behind tried to have a piece of that cake right there. There was a bit of wheel banging going on between the Force India and the Ferrari, as they now come down into the S's. Now will Lemon try and make a dive bomb here? No, actually it's the Red Bull behind, as Lemon locks up on his used medium tires, and that promotes Murphy up into P8, and Skatey trying to get away. Lemon now again going up the inside here, coming into the hairpin, runs wide though. He's going to have terrible traction off the liner, and he's actually still next to Murphy, who's not really allowing him to rejoin the track, as he's right up the white line here. And looks like Ruben now also got past Lemon as well. Obviously Ruben on those fresher soft tires, and you will definitely take that position if it's handed to him like it was right there. And that is Murphy and Ruben through, and yeah, Lemon really out of contention, and now he has to really watch his rearview mirror, because Paschek is now right behind him, and Lemon actually might fall out of the points right here.
Yeah, it would be a bit of a disaster for the Force India driver. It looked like he was dealing with that wing damage well, but as it happens, it seems like it's finally caught up with him here, as we see Paschek coming up the inside in the Haas. It was a bit of a desperation move into turn 10 from Lehman, as he ended up going flying off the road. Paschek nice and easily up into 10th place here, and I don't think there's anything the Force India driver is going to be able to say about it.
Actually, Ruben and Murphy there were also battling into turn 1, and Ruben actually got past Murphy there. So Ruben now up into P8, has the Ferrari of Enigma up next, and that is really all he can hope for on his pursuit to gain a few positions after his second stop. As now Lemon actually also loses out to JSR there, and drops down to 12th position now, and JSR looks in a pretty good position to maybe attack Paschek there for the final point bank position. And again, Lemon goes wide, so he actually gained a bit more front wing damage there, so Lemon's going to struggle even more on the final 3 laps of the race.
There's been a change up in 3rd place, as Ian has made his way past IE Pony. I wasn't able to see quite what happened, but there was a fairly significant gap last time I checked between them, somewhere in the realm of about 2 seconds, so I think IE Pony must have made some kind of error, and Ian has gone flying past him and up into 3rd place. So now IE Pony, what looked like was going to be a debut podium for him, is turning into a debut 4th place, and a team 3rd and 4th, so that's still not bad news at all for IE Pony, but it's even better news for Ian now.
Poster Stefan just went fastest around the circuit as he put on a fresh set of supers just to bang out a quick time. You can see he's actually holding up quite well with Muller in front, who is a lap ahead of him. So Muller on lap 28, Poster's only on lap 27, and that is again Ruben and Enigma battling it out as we had predicted, and Ruben actually got the better traction out of the corner here, but looks like Enigma will try to go back up the inside here, coming into turn 4. Ruben on the outside. That should now turn to the inside, and surely he should have the upper hand here coming into the S section. Yes, he does. Question is, will Enigma try to make a definite move up the inside here down into the hairpin? No, he does not. But he's under pressure from Murphy now. They're going side by side. Murphy pushed Enigma onto the rumble strip, and Enigma now down into P9, and now it's Pashek right behind him, who is trailed by JSR as well. So the battle for the lower point positions is definitely not over here, and it looks like everybody has settled into one line, one file configuration here, but that battle definitely is not over yet.
And another battle that's not over is the battle for 4th place, as IE Pony seems to have fallen off some sort of cliff. He's just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, and here comes Julian up into 4th place, and Skatey not far behind either. He's going to be looking to fly straight past the Williams driver down the straight as well. Both Skatey and Julian have DRS, and it's IE Pony who is the sitting duck here without that drag reduction system. And will Skatey be able to go all the way around the outside of his compatriot in the Red Bull? Not quite, and he does manage to get past IE Pony, who last lap was in 3rd place and now finds himself down in 6th. That is a disaster of a lap for the Williams driver.
Yeah, IE Pony is already up to 70% tire wear, so that's probably one of the reasons why he's struggling at the moment, and he's now dropped to 6th place. So from what could have been a podium, he's now down 3 positions, and he's struggling. But there's good news for him as well. The next car down the road is Ruben, who's 10 seconds behind, so he's probably not going to lose another position. As by the way, Muller has already crossed the line to be on the last lap of the race. This Bahrain Grand Prix has actually gone by like a blast, and we're just gonna have a look. That's Kellen and Assassin now battling it out for. No, sorry, they're not battling. Actually, Assassin went on to onto another set of super soft tires, so I thought they might have been side by side or something, but apparently it was only a pit stop. And just having a look, and that is actually Muller now already on the front straight and weaving there for his 2nd win in the 2nd race. Solid drive there from the German, as another German, that is Corny in the Mercedes, will come home to 2nd place unless his penalty drops him back. But no, Ian is too far behind there. Finishes in P3. Julian will finish 4th. Skatey in the Ferrari P5. IE Pony comes across P6. Does he hold on to that? That's a bit of shuffling going on. With
that's Ruben falling down.
IE Pony 6. Enigma actually 7th. Pashek will finish P8. Ruben 9th. And looks like Murphy will pick up the final points of the race, finishing in P10, sorry, in the 2nd Red Bull.
Yeah, and as they all come across the line, it was only Ruben that I believe it was only Ruben that lost out due to penalties in the end. He fell from 7th to 9th, wasn't able to build up enough of a gap. Actually, Murphy, I think, was right behind him when they crossed the line, so Murphy must have also had a penalty. He fell back down to 10th, so that benefited Pashek and Enigma, as we see Kellon come flying over the line in style. He's celebrating getting that fastest lap, unless RR Assassin or Hayden can do anything about it as they come across the line here. Here comes RR Assassin. Nope, he's not going to be able to do it. I think he only came out of the pits on this lap anyway, but we did have a nice 5-way battle for the fastest lap at the end, with people all pitting onto super soft tyres, and Kalon was the one who won that, so honourable mention to him.
Yeah, so this race absolutely went by in a fly. I think I never had a race where I didn't have to count any laps. That just went past in a blast. A lot of great battles, and again, a solid performance from Muller. Not quite as dominant as last race, but definitely a good race and a comfortable lead towards the end to take that top step on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Well deserved for all of the podium drivers here, especially Corny, I must say. Great drive from him. He made that soft to medium strategy work very well. I was surprised by the amount of people that were able to pull off the one stop. Only one person, and that was Ruben, actually did a 2-stop without trying to go for the fastest lap at the end. Here we can see the penalties. No one getting more than 1 time penalty, I don't believe, unless Postas. Yeah, never mind, Postas had 4, but if we ignore that, everyone else only had 1 or none, so that's a relatively clean race across the board. Could have been better, could have been worse.
4? Really?
I'm seeing 4 penalties, yeah.
Oh yeah, including the speeding in the pit lane.
Oh,
so
yeah,
here's the results for you. Obviously, Muller finishing the race in great style. Coney and Ian rounding up the podium there. Here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Then we have Julian and Skatey, 2 Dutch drivers. IE Pony, Enigma in the 2nd Ferrari. Pashek only 8th this time instead of finishing on the podium, so not the best race for him this time round. We have Ruben, Murphy round up the top 10, and then further down the order with JSR, Alias Tracksuit, Lemon, Kellen, Assassin, Hayden, Postus Delphin, and then obviously Nick Meadow, who did not finish the race after that early incident with the Red Bulls.
Absolutely. A good race in the end for the Dutch and for the Deutsch, as we had a German 1-2 and then a Dutch 3, 4, and 5, as well as Paschek coming home in 8th to make another German driver as well. And having said that, a pretty poor qualifying for Paschek. Him and Enigma both did very well throughout the race to make up a significant amount of positions. And these are the sort of points that if Paschek is able to get better pace, the sort of pace we saw from him in Australia, if he's able to get that on other tracks, then these sorts of points could be crucial going into the season later. So he'll be very glad to have picked them up regardless.
Yeah, so we have already someone in the Red Free interview. I'm just going to wait a few moments, as always, to see if who wants to come into the commentary box for a few to answer a few of our questions. Obviously, I'm just going to take this time to thank everyone who has been watching. Looks like Muller actually has quite a few fans out there. Obviously, we as commentators, we're trying to be unbiased, but it looks like there was quite a bias with the viewers there. So, yeah, a solid race that is for sure. And let's get the first driver into the commentary box. That is Lemon. Good evening.
Hello.
So, quite an up and down race for you, obviously, but let's start with qualifying. It looked like you were at the top for quite some time, but obviously then Muller got that great lap in there at the end. That was loud. Lemon, do you think you could have beaten the pole time, or were you happy with how qualifying went for you?
I just did time, like pole time before this race, and I thought that I could beat it, but I messed up my 2nd sector and I improved only by 27 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, that was the smallest of gains. Obviously, then came the race, and it looked quite good for you in the first stint, but then after the pit stops, you were quite down the order. Was it just a pace issue, or do you think the strategy didn't work out for you?
No, I lost my front wing.
That's it.
No, I was in the SS and with Skatey, and on this bumpy curb I lost control just a little bit. No spinning, but it unsettled my car, and I slammed his rear. So it was my fault, but I ruined my race by that.
Yeah, it looked like a really desperate move, but yeah, obviously, if you unsettle the car before the braking zone, it's difficult to get the car slowed down, for sure. Yeah. After that, it looked like you were just trying to limp it home at some point.
Yeah, I was trying to save points. I had a thought about setting the fastest lap just to have something, but while I was in the point, it had no sense. But then something weird happened. I was just locking up almost every corner. I didn't know what was that, but also my fault. But I wasn't suspecting something like this.
So, as you might have noticed, there was some noise, and Aladar was gone. So he had the fire alarm go off in his house. So he's muted himself now. So we're not gonna be deaf at the end of the stream. Just having a look. How about let's talk to him if I can get him into the stream. Actually got more difficult now. How can I do that?
But
it's not gonna let me. It's not gonna let me do it. This is a bit unfortunate. Can I do? I want to get the people into the commentary box, obviously, but if I want to pull them into the box, won't actually. Oh no, there we go. Oh, sorry. Did I stop you mid sentence?
It's fine. It didn't stop me. It's not a really important thing.
Yeah, obviously. First of all, congratulations to that podium finish. You must be quite thrilled considering last week's race didn't go quite to your favor.
Yeah, last week was not good. Was not a good race. First corner, I got punted, spun, damaged front wing, and in the end I did damaged imitation. And yeah, this race was really good. The battle with Le Mans, or how I should pronounce it, was really intense. First and second sector side by side, and in the end it was a podium, and that's really nice. And I hope I can achieve China attacks the win.
Yeah, it looked like you played the one-stop strategy to perfection there. Did you practice all too much on the soft tires to go straight with that strategy from the start, or was it more like let's see how it goes and then maybe start on the softs if the time's good enough?
Yeah, I need to say I didn't practice anything on the softs, only super softs, and in the end in the quali I just fucked up all of my super soft runs.
Can I say one thing? Because he was doing one stop from super soft, from soft to mediums in evaluation. When I saw him on softs, I knew that this is going to be hard.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to be a stretch for some drivers. I think IE Pony was on that one stop as well, and he dropped off quite a bit there at the end, down to P6. Obviously, I'd like to hear something from him why that drop was so significant, but unfortunately he's not in Discord, so we're gonna talk to this young gentleman if Discord actually allows me to do so. No, maybe, yes. Oh, the scrolling does not work very well on this. Right, let's do this.
I can call him if you want.
There we go. Good evening.
I was like, hey, where'd that go?
Welcome to the commentary box.
Yo, thanks. I completely forgot about this because of all the stuff that happened. Nice.
Yeah, I just tend to get some people going. Unfortunately, Muller is very Discord shy, so if he continues winning the following races, there won't be much of interviews with race winners. But yeah, congratulations first of all to you, Ian.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Solid race there. Tell us a bit about qualifying at first, because there were some people who tried to go out on softs as well, and then it didn't work out for all of them. Tell us a bit about qualifying from your perspective.
Well, I know myself that I'm really good with tires on this game, so I just wanted to go super softs all the way because I'm usually very good on the first stint, so what I always do is just get the softest tire and just create a gap. But that's just what I do. But there's a lot of strategies out there that say soft to medium is faster because the super softs fall off from lap 4 or something. But I knew I wouldn't have those issues. But what I did have in qualifying was I had sound issues. So whenever I tapped back into the game and went into the car, like all sound turned off. So that's what I had to deal with. So in the end, I only got to do one quali lap with semi-audio, but at least for the race it came back, so that's really nice. And
Yeah.
I knew my pace was good, so all I had to do was keep it in one piece.
Yeah, fortunate enough for you, and then obviously that Solace race there, and congratulations to the podium. I don't know, were you in voice chat or some contact with your teammate, because he did drop off quite a bit at the end there.
No, I wasn't in voice chat with him, but after the race, it turned out his tires just hit the cliff, because he pitted 1 lap earlier than me, and I really did notice the tires dying on the last lap. So his tires must have just gone.
Yeah, so good result there for the Williams team with P3 and P6, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I think, oh look, we have someone else ready for interview. So good evening to you, JSR.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you after that probably stressful race?
Stressful word, disappointed is probably the one I would use. Unfortunately, my quali was looking really good to start with, and then Lehman's car, I don't know if it came across on stream, but it disconnected on my screen at least, and I got blocked on both of my last 2 flying laps by it. And I think I was probably on for 26.2, so I wouldn't have been able to get pole, but certainly front row was looking possible. And then the race, cars were literally morphing into each other on my screen on the first couple of laps, and then I clipped the back of, I think it was either Skatey or Corny or something, and I chipped off a bit of my wing, and then from there it was kind of damage limitation. But yeah.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of battling going on in the midfield there. If I remember correctly, unfortunately you missed out on some points in the 11th, right?
Yes, I managed to get myself a 3-second time penalty with that 2 laps to go, and missed out on 9th position, which was just a bit of a kick in the teeth, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it looked like you were closing up quite well. So, do you think with maybe one more lap you would have been able to get past Murphy there?
I think possibly, because I think it was Enigma seemed to be really falling off pace at the end. He seemed to be struggling really bad with tyre wear because everyone started to bunch up again. But to be honest, I pitted a bit earlier than I would have liked to have done, because of the wing damage I had. I was just trying to do something so I could still do the 1 stop, but I was running out of tyres by the end. So maybe if the battle had continued, maybe 1 more lap, but not guaranteed though, to be honest.
Yeah, so from a spectators and commentators' point of view, obviously was a very exciting race. We even had scraps for second to last place as well. I think that was Postus and Hayden going side by side for like 3/4 of the lap, which was very interesting. But yeah, again, a great race here from the PCF3 drivers. Obviously, I want to say a thank you to all the drivers who participate, as I lose my English, to offer us these great races. Obviously, thank you to everybody who has been watching today. It's always great having you here. Big thank you to Hype Energy, who sponsor our official AOR F1 leagues. And a great shout out to Elgato as well, who make the streams possible as they are. And obviously a big thank you to Thrustmaster and GT Omega Racing as well, who sponsor AOR overall. So yeah, next time around we'll be at China. How is everybody feeling? Confident around there, or
Not at all in the slightest.
Why do I always get the people into the commentary box to say next week will be my bad race, or are you just trying to? Are you just all trying to sound slow so you can have a positive impact next time around?
I can't speak for others, but that's certainly not the case with me. China, I hate with a passion. So, I'll if I could get top 10 on the back of what these last 2 races been for me, that would be great.
All right, so
China. That's negative psychology.
Yeah. All right, so to wrap things up, because Aladar's fire alarm is killing him, and he'd like to switch it off very soon. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see next week if Muller can hold on to his pole and win streak, and if he does so, it's going to be interesting to see whether I actually finally get him into the commentary box for an interview, because he seems to be quite shy, but it would be interesting to talk to him anyways. Obviously, you'll see all you guys hopefully next week, and the spectators obviously as well. And I wish you a very good evening, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.